What's up YouTube, it's Nishi here, and today I'm going to be going over several Yu-Gi-Oh decks that are cheap to build right now that you can pick up. So my first pick here was Altergeist. Altergeist is, I would say, is really cheap right now. You can even play Mystic Mine in it, since that's a decent card right now in the meta. It's just control based, basically. And the only other card that used to be expensive for this deck was Extra, but with the reprint, it's less than $1. Like, you should be able to pick this up and play it with no issues. The extra deck, you don't really even need. Maybe a Link Rebo, which isn't even that expensive. It's about $3. But yeah, I would say this deck is easy to pick up, fun to pick up and all that, and I recommend playing that. So the next one I recommend is Invoked. I remember when Invocation Super Rare from Shadows of Valhalla was $40, but this card used to be $40 when it came out, when I picked it up, because it didn't have any reprints. And now this deck is not in the meta right now. I still think this deck is really good. You can abuse Super Poly if you have it. You can throw this engine with a lot of other decks. Shadal's, Despia, you can even do Mech Knights. There's different ways you can play this deck. At the price point that all these cards are at, I would say this is a good card to pick up, or like a good deck core to have with rotating metas and ban lists coming up soon. But yes, I would get and pick up Invoked. It's super cheap right now, really budget, and like with the new ban list, you could probably sweep the tables because people forgot how to play this deck. The only expensive card would be Magistus Link Monster, which is about $12. So that's your most expensive card right now. You don't even need this. You could do Almirage. Salamangreat Almirage. Yeah, this is only 60 cents. So you should be able to build this deck with no issues. But yeah, I totally recommend this deck. It's cheap, affordable, and who knows, this deck core could go up next ban list if they hit a lot of stuff. The next one, this one's a fun one. I like it. It's Crusadia. This is a combo-based deck, OTK, break your opponent's board, basically. The only expensive card in this is Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax, which you don't even need this. You could do like Boral Sword. It's about $3, so it's not that bad compared to the 15. But yes, I would say this deck is really good. If anything, the Kaijus, and you can even transform this deck into Crusadia Dragon Link. I even did this deck. It was like rank 3 spam, which leads me into the next deck, Phantom Knights. Phantom Knights, I would say, is undervalued. I remember when Torn Skills used to be $20 plus, and now it's $3. Obviously, this deck isn't amazing, but this deck is fun, relatively cheap now. I remember when Fog Blades used to be like 15 or 10. So I would say this deck core is really cheap, has a lot of reprints. But yeah, those are the two decks, combo variant decks. You can even do Gokis if you wanted. You could do Gokis Phantom Knights. There's a lot of different ways you can play this deck. And then another control deck I would recommend is Eldlich. The cheapest, most expensive card, I think, is just Golden Boy itself. Yeah, the traps are not too much, actually. Yeah, they're about $5. So, I mean, this deck is a little more expensive, but it's still budget, I would say, compared to what it used to be. I bought this deck at the peak. I'm kind of mad at myself. I bought the super rare of this for $30, and now look at it, it's like $6. So, I took a fat L. But now you can get it for relatively cheap. I would say this deck doesn't really need its extra deck, maybe for OTK, but besides that, this deck is really good for control. If you like controls, you can play that. Another combo deck you can play is Virtual World. Virtual World, I would say, is kind of like a rogue strategy. I know people play Punk with it. The most expensive card is probably Brawn to Floor. If you play that, you don't even necessarily need to play it in this deck, but I recommend this. But yeah, those are all the decks that I recommend. I hope you guys like the video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!